All right, I guess we're live. Okay, welcome back to Ask Jason Anything About Meta Advertising that happens every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time. So, what I do is very simple. Every week, I go live for 30 minutes, mainly to answer questions about meta advertising to help my community. So, if you have any meta ads related questions, the first thing I would recommend you to do is please go to my YouTube channel and try to search for an answer because I posted over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel, mainly answering questions like this. Chances are I probably have covered something similar to the challenge that you are facing. If you can find an answer, great, because that's what matters, right? Um, Move on to do whatever you need to do and then come back whenever you have any other questions. But if you cannot find an answer, do not worry. All you need to do is just post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. And what I'm going to do on the following Sunday is I'm going to screenshot your question and I'm going to bring it up here and I'm going to try to answer questions or to give you my recommendations or opinion on whatever challenge that you are facing, hopefully to give you some pointers on what you can do next. All right. So it's actually pretty straightforward. Now, if this is the first time you join my universe, welcome to my universe. Like I said, my name is Jason. I'm a meta ads optimization strategist from Malaysia. So what I do day in, day out is I help meta advertisers, Facebook advertisers, Instagram advertisers take their campaign to the next level. Whether you have been running ads yourself, you can't really find a stable way to kind of like to get you the consistent KPI, or you want to take it to the next level, but you can't seem to find a right formula for you to scale it. Because both are actually valid problems and we have different approach on both the challenges. Now, if you have a campaign that is not performing well, inconsistency, it could be the structure problem, it could be the strategy problem. So what we would do is we would try to find out what is the real problem in your campaign, using our analytical approach, whereby we will dive into the numbers. Because what I always against when it comes to meta advertising is to make decision based on gut feeling. That's a very scary thing. All right, just give you an example. If you have a campaign that has been running well for 2 weeks and out of sudden it stops working, what would you do? You will kill the campaign and then you will start creating all over again. You will guess that it might be the audience problem, it might be the ad problem, but you're going to do the same thing all over again. You see, here's my opinion about this thing. So when you have a campaign like that, I think the first thing is we need to find out why. Because if you just kill it, you're actually throwing away the fact that the campaign worked well for 2 weeks. And then it just happened that, look, this week itself is not working, you kill it, but you don't know why. So the analytics, the numbers is going to give us the reason why it's not working. And we need to learn that. Otherwise, we won't be able to avoid making the same mistake in the next campaign and so on and so forth. So that's my advocation when it comes to meta advertising. It's the mindset. All right. So we will need to find out. Now, on the other hand, when you have a campaign that is working well, you want to scale it and you can't seem to find a right way to do it. My question to you here is, do you know why your campaign is working? You see, here's the thing. If you it's working 100%, it's been getting you consistent result and you're happy about it, right? But what's working in it? Is it the ad? Is it the funnel? Is it the landing page? Is it the checkout process? Is there any other area that you can optimize before you talk about scaling? You see, here's my big philosophy when it comes to scaling. We need to find out why it's working first. And then after that, we will build a plan on scaling so that we are able to confidently analyze and track the performance after we scale it. So there are many ways of scaling it, whether you want to do the like the horizontal scaling, which is like you increase the budget by 20 to 30% each week and monitor for another week, or you want to do, sorry, it was vertical scaling. Now we talk about horizontal scaling, where we actually create different similar campaigns that talks to different audiences in a very strategic way. There are many ways to do this. So yeah, here's what I think. I mean, I used to teach, but in my opinion, teaching is, yes, I love teaching, but at the end of the day, when it comes to campaign, after working with thousands of meta advertisers from all around the world, I realize it is not that easy to teach. So I would rather to work with you one-on-one. That's how I work with my clients right now. So instead of trying to create courses that talk about analytics and all that, that's not going to be 100% tailored to your business. Let's work one-on-one and we have a solution that is tailored to your business. So that's how I work with my clients. So if you have any challenges that you're facing right now, you want to work with me. So there are two ways, right? Let me bring up my screen first. Anyway, this Ask Jason Anything. So that's my banner every time I go live, right? So if you want to talk about working together, the first way we can work together is this. You can scan this QR code and book an ad hoc one-on-one session with me. I would recommend if you have a campaign that is working well or not working well, you just want to learn how to analyze it and take it to the next level, I would say that you book a 30 minutes will do, because that's all we need. But if you are concerned, you are confused about the entire ads manager, you want a more like hands-on walkthrough on how to use the ads manager, how to navigate the business portfolio and stuff, then you can go for 60 minutes. So that's what we're gonna do, right? One-on-one, you and I over the Zoom, a Zoom call, and you're gonna share a screen, I'm gonna take over your screen, and we're gonna do all this navigation together to solve whatever challenges that you're facing. So that's something they're looking for. Then scan this QR code, and I look forward to working with you. Now, alternatively, okay, I have like more than a handful of clients. Actually, I'm maintaining about like 17 to 20 clients per week right now, to work together one-on-one once a week. So this is a continuous support that I provide to my serious clients. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet once a week. We're going to analyze the campaign. We're going to find out what's working, what's not working, and we're going to decide the next optimization step that we're going to take. So yeah, usually the client works with me for at least 3 months, and some actually will already work with me for about 2 to 3 years now. So what we do is actually it's very similar to agency, but the way I work with my clients is very simple. I want my client to learn and grow over time in terms of skill, knowledge, and performance, of course. So yeah, the way I work with, the way that we are different from agencies is that most agencies, they just tell you what's happening and they don't give you the recommendations, they don't discuss. But I do a lot of discussion with my client. We will talk about the strategy, we'll talk about the plan next month, 3 months down the road, and we even talk about a yearly plan on how we're going to build the whole thing. So yeah, this is how we work together on one-on-one on a continuous basis. So if that's something that you're looking for, then you can scan this QR code. Let's have a quick chat to see whether we are a good fit to work together. If yes, great. Otherwise, I'll point you to the best way to work together on the next one. All right. So yeah, those are some introduction. I'm just gonna go dive into the questions that I have. So I don't have a lot of questions from my community, but I've got some topics that I find interesting because these are the questions that I get from my clients from time to time. So the first one is I get a lot. So a lot of people are questioning about Facebook ads location targeting. Whether it's accurate. Is Facebook ads location targeting powerful and accurate? In my opinion, yes. We see when it comes to Facebook ads audience targeting, there are multiple ways of targeting the audience. So there are a few fundamental ones that you really need to understand. These are the basic ones that you can always count on it. First is the location. Second is the gender and age. And then after that, location, gender, and age. These are the basic things that usually would not go wrong. But you have to be very careful about one thing, okay? Meta now has, in the ads manager, when you go for a very specific audience, there is a little checkbox down there that says that if you check that, you're allowing Meta to expand the audience targeting when they find opportunities. So let's say, for example, if you're trying to target a very niche audience in a very specific area. So yeah, when it comes to audience targeting, especially the location, you know that aside from typing in the name, you can also drop a pin. So the differences about the typing in the name and the pin is that when you type at the name, I think you can actually zoom in up to 10 miles or 5 miles. But when you actually drop a pin, meaning you can actually just drag and drop the map, you can drop a pin on specific area that you want to target. So when it comes to that kind of targeting, you can actually close up to 1 miles or even in 1 kilometer when it comes to the kilometer measurement. So it's very precise. So when it comes to this kind of detailed targeting, location targeting, you have a few ways to use these. Like, let me give you an example. I've got a client who's selling swimming pool. So when it comes to swimming pool in Malaysia itself, the place that we want to avoid is condominium areas, apartment areas, because they can't put a pool in their balcony, right? You need to have a landed property in order to put a pool. So you can actually use this location targeting to find places with very specific audiences that you're trying to target. So sometimes a lot of people believe in a lot of all these detailed targeting, but in my opinion, the location targeting is one of the best way for us to target. So even if you want to go in further, you can actually use exclusion. So some of my clients who wants to target, let's say, a big portion of the area, they want to exclude certain part of the places. That's how we actually do those kind of exclusion. So yeah, those are the things that we can do in order to really find the best audience for our campaign. So yeah, so basically, if you ask me, is audience targeting still relevant and powerful in Facebook advertising and Meta advertising? In my opinion, this is actually the most important one. And in most cases, Meta advertising is still the best the best advertising platform when it comes to digital marketing. So yeah, But having said that, right, when we do all these detailed targeting, audience targeting, gender targeting, age targeting, and all that, you need to kind of monitor the effectiveness. When you go on a very niche audience, you have to understand that your CPM is going to be higher. So naturally, your cost of advertising is going to be more expensive compared to the rest, and that's like one of the reasons why you may not be getting the kind of cost that you want. But then again, when you offset with you observe that your quality is good, your sales is going good, then it's fine. So basically, you need to strike a balance. Sometimes in certain campaign, we will even recommend a client to go broader because essentially that's how you can actually expand the audience and try to reach more people, especially when we have some underspending issue or the CPM is coming up too high, it's not going anywhere. So we have a lot of analytics works to do. Launching a campaign, learning the basic things like location targeting, audience targeting is the basic. But the next thing I always recommend any meta advertisers who are serious, you need to start learning about analytics. So yeah, when it comes to analytics, the best way we do this together is to dive into the metrics together and unearth from your campaign. I don't want to recommend you any course right now because it's not relevant to you. Even if you learn this, you won't be able to apply it to your whatever campaign that you're running. So if you are interested to find out what's working and what's not working in your campaign, I recommend that you actually sign up for a one-on-one Meta Ad support by me. So this is a one-on-one Zoom call. You and I are going to come to the Zoom call, and then you're going to share a screen. We're going to do three things together, especially if you have a campaign that is running. First, we're going to line up the metrics that you need to track specifically for your campaign. And then after that, we're going to analyze it. So once we analyze it, the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to come up with a plan on what are the things that we can do possibly to take our campaign to the next level. So pop, we're going to come up with a list of things to do, and that's your action plan. So yeah, that's something that you're looking for. Then I totally recommend that you grab these 30 minutes would do, scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right, so that's the first question, basically about the audience targeting. Now, the next question that I get a lot is people asking me, is Facebook advertising still worth it or relevant in 2026? This was asked to me in 2025, but my quick answer to this is yes. But why? Now, let me tell you this. A lot of people argue that, look, TikTok is coming up and a lot of other, social media platform is coming up. But in my opinion, Facebook and Instagram combined, they have the most ready to buy social network audiences that you can actually target anywhere in the world. But when it comes to the platform itself, you see, I've been asked this question whether Facebook is still relevant, Instagram is still relevant. But here's the thing, we shouldn't be looking at the platform as the relevancy only, because you have to always understand a business evolve. Like your business, right? Let's say if you're starting with, let's say you're selling item A, you won't be always selling item A. You're always looking for the expansion, the next step on how you want to grow this. So if you understand closely on how Facebook evolved from the very beginning, started as a social network itself as Facebook, and then after that they acquired Instagram, which is now the largest social network in the world right now, combined Facebook and Instagram. But Instagram is actually still growing because a lot of people argue that, look, the youngsters no longer go to Facebook, but the youngsters are still on Instagram. So you know that even TikTok can't, like they're still in a way rivaling Instagram, but Instagram is still growing in terms of their popularity among the audiences. And the most important thing, based on my comparison, because some of my clients are advertising on TikTok and other social media platforms, what we observe here is that, like people on Facebook and Instagram are so much more ready to buy. And you have to understand other platforms like Threads. And also when you are running ads on Facebook and Instagram, you're not just running ads on Facebook and Instagram, you are also appearing on some other mobile apps that serves Facebook advertising or meta advertising. So your reach is actually quite beyond. And the most important thing here is that when it comes to, the readiness to buy, Meta is still the best platform for you to target the most matured audience that are, ready to spend. You see, when it comes to this question, another example I want to give here is that, like people used to ask whether, when Facebook came about, people ask me, do you think Google is still relevant? To me, search is another habit that is totally different from social networking. So basically, up to now, after so many years, even now, we have this AI coming into place that really totally changed how people search information right now. Google never being questioned about their relevancy because the habit is still there. People looking for answers is still a thing that will always be in our mind. But then again, how do we want to connect their search intent to advertisement that can make money? Google is always gonna figure out a way that will actually monetize all these search intent. So basically, it's always be there. With all these new social media coming into places and not, it just adds a little bit different things that we can actually look into when it comes to advertising. So as a business owner, in my opinion, I think the most important thing is really to find the best platform. Like the other day, I talked to a client who wants to advertise on LinkedIn because their business, they have no story on Facebook and Instagram because it's a highly niche B2B. They need to find the people. They need to start building brand among all these people who is in the company. So they need to turn to LinkedIn as an advertising. And when I actually took a look at LinkedIn after so many years, and I realized LinkedIn has evolved so much and it's still freaking 100% so powerful among people who are in it, in the ecosystem itself. So I think rather than asking whether Facebook is going to be relevant, Instagram is still going to be relevant, Google is still going to be relevant, I think the most important thing we start need to look at here is that where is our audiences coming from? I'd like to give another example here for myself here. I don't get ads. To me is I don't really get leads or businesses through social media like Facebook, Instagram. But I would say almost 100% of my businesses or my clients came to me through YouTube. That's the reason why I'm still doing a lot of content, because I need to create content that connects with search intent, and that's how my audiences can come into my universe. The chances are you're probably watching this video because you were looking for something, and that's how we get connected. And when you come to me, you have already consumed my information, you have seen my presence on YouTube, and it's a lot easier for us to talk about how we can collaborate. So you really have to understand your business to find out what is the best platform for your business instead of looking for what is the trending right now. Because I've seen so many businesses burning themselves out because they were chasing, like the most trendy or most shiny or most in trend platform that a lot of people are there. But when I say a lot of people, it may not be your people, right? So find your playground and play really well with it is really the most important thing. And in my opinion, when it comes to marketing, a lot of businesses, when they are doing marketing, they don't optimize, right? Like for my case, right, when I do content on YouTube, I optimize almost every 3 months or 6 months. Optimizing means what? I start analyzing my trend of content, whether it's going up or down, and I start looking around and see if there's any other way that I can actually rank my content higher. So this is optimization. Like now I'm still going through another process where I'm gonna update my entire library of content of at least about 1,000 of them. That's a huge project that I'm embarking on for this year right now. But by doing that, I'm already seeing my what do we call, my traffic increase by at least 30% right now, and my leads coming in are a lot higher right now, almost increased by more than 50%. So that's what we call optimization. Meaning when you are creating content, when you're doing marketing, you need to observe. Even when you're advertising, you need to see whether this is the right platform, and you need to start tweaking and like trying to make things perfect and optimizing to make sure that your effort are being paid off. So rather than chasing the shiny objects and whatever, know your thing, know your business is really the most important. Just in case if you have been running ads or you have been doing some marketing yourself, you need another pair of eyes to look at whatever that you're doing and see if there's any way that we can actually optimize it, or maybe to give you some honest feedback about whether is this the right platform for you or not, or probably to give you some pointers on possibly what are the other platforms that you can look at. I would recommend that you scan this QR code. That will allow you to book a one-on-one Zoom call with me. I would say start with a 30 minutes and let's have a quick chat. Basically, you're going to share with me your analytics and all that. I'm going to dive into it, whether it's on ads or it's whether content like, YouTube, especially if you're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We will find out what's working, what's not working, and try to figure out what are the best next thing that you can do in order to hopefully enhance your advertising and marketing. So if that's something that you're looking for, then scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right. Now, sorry. Yeah. So the next one I get here is people ask me, this I always get asked a lot. What's the best Facebook ad strategy in 2025, 2026? In fact, since I started advertising in 2010, it's always the same. Okay, when it comes to advertising, first you need to understand what is Facebook advertising. Facebook advertising is actually an intrusive advertising, meaning you actually invade into people's feed and you post something that is hopefully something that they're interested in. But having said that, after so many iterations and evolutions, Meta advertising, rather Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising, when it comes to today, it has changed. So I would still say that when it comes to, first, let's look at the structure. When you are running ads on Facebook, you should always have a top of funnel campaign and a retargeting campaign. So when you talk about top of funnel campaign, meaning this is actually a campaign that contains advertisement that help you reach new people, essentially fresh audiences. So when it comes to top of funnel campaign, there are a few things you need to look into. First thing first, the messaging has to be very, like primary, that you need to go out and, make sure that you just tell people what you sell and what is in for them. The reason why we want to do that is because meta advertising is now intent based, meaning the clearer you're able to define what you sell or what you offer, whether it's a product or a services, the easier people can understand and to decide whether you are the right thing for them, that they want to look in and understand further about you and what you have got to offer. So try to avoid beating around the bush to create some ads that is kind of like, indirect, I mean, I wouldn't say shady, but you try to give them some context, and then after that, present your product or services. It may not work that way. So go very straightforward, because the attention span on social media is really short. The messaging has to be clear. At the same time, the other reason why you want your message to be clear is because you want the algorithm to understand what you sell and what you have got to offer. Because like I say, meta ad is now intent-based. So when it comes to intent-based, what does it mean? Meta really understand our purchase intent, meaning, okay, if you are offering, let's say, baby products, Meta would actually match your ad to people who are actually looking for baby products, or Meta knows that they are parents themselves. How do they know that? There's so many ways for them to know. When they post photos about their babies and toddlers, that's one thing. It's about their content sharing. Second thing is they will actually, Meta crawls a lot of things, including your messaging, your posts, your content, whether it's private or public. At the same time, when you browse websites, I would say more than easily 80 to 90% of the websites in the world are installed with Metapixel, and that allows Meta to really track their activities beyond Facebook and Instagram. Meaning, let's say if you go to baby products, you browse them, it sends the message back to Meta and say that, oh, okay, now this guy is a parent, he or she is looking for baby products. So that's the reason why Meta is now intent-based, because they actually have a lot of information about the audience. So giving the message clear enough to let Meta algorithm understand what you sell is really the key. So I'm still at the top of funnel, right? So when it comes to top of funnel, the key thing that you need to do is really remember it's about sending your ad to most relevant people, as many of them as possible. So you need to apply exclusion. So when it comes to exclusion, means it's a technique for us to stop showing the ad to the people who have taken action, such as click on the ad, visited your website, those are the things. So this is really an important thing that you have to learn by excluding. Now, at the same time, that's the top of funnel, right? You need to have a retargeting ads running, especially if you're in e-commerce, even lead gen as well. So you see, remember, I would say most people would not buy your product the first time they see you. That's because I don't believe in love at first sight. So you need to remind them, especially nowadays, we get so many reasons that we can get distracted from, reading an information or whatever. So yeah, if a person have clicked on your ad, the next thing is you need to start sending a retargeting ad to these people to remind them about their intent, or at the same time to reinforce the messages about your unique selling points or whatever that you have got to tell them, to say that, hey, come back and buy. Whether you want to give them a voucher, you want to tell them that you offer free shippings or free return or whatever. You just gotta really corner them and make them make the decision as soon as possible, so that you can actually bring them back. So that's really the key that you have to understand. So yeah, so when it comes to strategy, it's always that. But having said that, running ads is actually the easiest part. Understanding the metric and knowing what's working, what's not working is really the most important thing. I always believe every meta advertisers should learn. So you can have a lot of advertisers showing you different strategies, but that's my take. Top of funnel, retargeting. The budget is usually about 80% at the top of funnel, 20% at the retargeting. So yeah, run your campaign, and then after that, you can always come back. So what I offer here is that if you run ads, you want to know what's working and what's not working. That's what I offer. So yeah, because I'm a specialist in analytics, right? So if you run ads, you have applied some strategies, still not so working so well, or it's working well, but you don't know what is working well. You need somebody to come and look at your campaign data to give you some recommendations. Scan this QR code, book a 30 minutes one-on-one Zoom call with me, and we can do that together. We're going to do 3 things together. First, I'm going to build a dashboard that is relevant to only your business, pull out all the metrics available and line it up and save it in your ads manager. And then after that, the second thing is we're going to analyze the metrics together, you and I. so that you will learn how to do it yourself afterwards. And the third thing we're going to do is we're going to build a plan. As in, once we analyze, we're going to come up with a plan that, look, these are all the things that we can do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Let's test all these things once a week. So basically, that's how we talk about optimization. We start with analytics, and then we talk about optimization. If that's something they're looking for, then scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right. So yeah, the next question, it's not really a question, it's a statement coming from Azarel. So basically, I have a video talking about the probable reasons why you're getting some so-called fake leads when it comes to Facebook advertising. Now, people do actually kind of questions Meta advertising, especially lead gen, where Meta might be giving you the fake leads or whatsoever. But in my opinion, I don't think it's Meta's best interest to feed you fake leads, but rather I think it's a few things that might be in place. So if you watch this video, you can actually go over and watch it, but let's do a quick summary here. When your lead gen is getting you a lot of fake leads, but first thing first, let's talk about the intent and the quality, especially if you use lead form, right? We always aim for 20% actionable leads, which means out of 100 leads that came through your door, 80% of them are rather, whether they are not ready, I usually just like to put it a nicer way, which is not ready, or they accidentally click on your ad and they are not ready into whatever becoming a customer. And usually about 20% is the benchmark that we always put there. We need to be at least able to get in touch with them and get into further conversation with them, at least 20% of them. That's our benchmark. So when it comes to lead gen, because the reason why we have such low percentage of actionable lead is because lead form is so easy to be misclick on Facebook and Instagram. So we usually do that. But what makes it up is you get more leads so that you can work on them. And then eventually, hopefully, if you have a long-term plan for your leads, you are able to nurture your leads until one day when they are ready, you become the first choice in their head. So I always tell my client, when you are in lead gen, especially if you're in lead gen business, you need to have a long-term lead nurturing mechanism in place, whether through email or through whatever community building kind of, whether it's WhatsApp, some do that, whatever means that you need to have in order to start nurturing your leads. Because let's put it this way, if you're in lead gen, I would say chances are you're selling something that is usually of high quality, high value. Yeah, that's the right thing. So people may not be ready to buy right away, but they might be able to get ready in the long run. Like, for example, even for my business, I'm a B2B. I have a lot of clients who get into my email list for 4 years, 3 years before they are ready to become a client. But nonetheless, they are still going to become my client. So what is your game in terms of nurturing these people? So that's the first thing. But aside from that, I think Azarel's question here is that he has tried every means that we talk about in this video, like adding lead questions, because usually one of the way that we want to reduce the percentage of junk leads, or rather accidental clicks, is to increase the number of questions, but we usually limit it within 3 to 5. So yeah, with that, right, we should be able to just get the right people in, hopefully by answering questions. So if you try all this and you still get none of them are fake, real leads, then I think you probably have to look at the whole business in a more objective way. Now, a few angles that you can look at. My next few questions that you can ask yourself here. First, are your leads potentially getting you the wrong intent? You see, I've seen so many ads out there that are clickbaity or whatsoever, or you actually ask certain questions upfront, you don't get really to the point of what you offer, you might get the wrong people in. You see, when you get the wrong people in, definitely they're not ready. So let's say if you're trying to sell a property, for example, let's say if you try to sell a bungalow, but your ad is positioned to say that, oh, you're more like selling a condominium kind of stuff, which you would naturally attract the wrong audience to your business. Of course, all these leads that come in will not be actionable to you because they are the wrong ones. And second thing is, I've seen so many, even for agencies, if you offer the wrong lead magnets, you're going to get the wrong crowds in as well. I always have this. I would like to share my personal experience. At one point, my very first few lead magnets was, what is meta advertising? Or rather, back then we talk about what is Facebook advertising. So eventually I get a lot of people who are interested to find out what is Facebook advertising, but I don't get any clients. Why? Because I need to work with people who are already advertised, because that's how I can be valuable, because I provide service to help you find out what's not working in your campaign, so that I can give you value out of that. But if you're totally new to Facebook advertising or meta advertising, I have got no use to you. So yeah, And then that's the hook part, which is, like whether your lead magnet is wrong, your ad is wrong. So that's one part, right? And the second part is I would like to question whether your follow-up process is good enough. As in, like, okay, now when the lead comes in, do you attend to them immediately? Right? There are a lot of things, right? And if you attend to them immediately, what is your mechanism? Have you tested or improvised or even optimized your follow-up sequence? Like a lot of my clients, when they are doing lead gen, are like, most of them, I would say that we need to have at least 5 to 7 touch points before we label a lead as useless. So what do you do within these few touch points, and what are the things that you try to optimize to at least try to get them to feedback to you and reply to you in any way, whether it's return a call, reply a WhatsApp message or whatsoever. So the follow-up process is really important. Remember, you're trying to get leads here. So how do you nurture the leads has to be an art that you have to master on your own, which is I'm not good at. So basically, I won't be able to advise you on this part, but then again, we can try to look at this, whether if there's any area, because my business is always about trying to help you identify leaking points in your entire funnel. So if there is anything, let's say your follow-up is wrong, just like when we do e-commerce, right? You have a lot of people lands on your website, but very, 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 very few added to cart. That means your landing page is not selling. So same thing, back to you, right? Is your follow-up process the best one? And the second thing, I mean, the next question probably I have for you here is that, do you think it has got to do with the offer? Do you get feedback from those leads? Why do they do not convert? Is there any things that you can do? You see, sometimes when it comes to business, especially if you're doing the business that yourself, like me, we have a lot of blind spots. But when it comes to blind spots, we need honest feedback, whether it's from our clients or from our associates, from team members and all that. We need to find out what's wrong with the whole thing. Instead of trying to blame Facebook and say that, it's useless, it's not going to get. But put it this way, if Facebook lead gen ads is that useless, why so many people are still advertising on it and depending on it? And after so many years, it is still relevant to a lot of businesses out there. It must be something. But what is wrong with our model right here? We need to find out and try to fix them. So if we want to use advertising, especially meta advertising, for any reasons like lead gen or e-commerce business and all that, it's really important for us to start understanding what's working, what's not working, and use data to help us identify what are the leaking points and what are the things that we can do to hopefully take it to the next level. So if you're facing some problem with your campaign, you tried many things and you do not know what's not working, what's wrong with especially your lead gen campaign, I recommend that you book this one-on-one meta ad support with me. So this is a one-on-one Zoom call. I would recommend that you start with the 30 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into your metrics, we're going to analyze, and we're going to come up with a plan, hopefully, to take your campaign to the next level. So yeah, very straightforward, no string attached, just one-off call as and when you need it. All right? Yeah, scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right, with that, brings us to the wrap. Okay, now, so overrun a little bit, but I don't think you care. But anyway, that's what I do. If you have any meta ads related questions, feel free to first search my YouTube channel, try to find an answer. And if you cannot find any answer or any videos that talks about problems or challenges that you are facing, all you need to do is just post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. And I'm going to screenshot a question on the following Sunday. I'm going to answer questions like over here. All right. Thank you so much. Have an awesome week ahead. And I will see you next week. Good night. Bye.